as it is in Great Britain and Europe, but the early morning as regards the activity in Colombia. We're going, in fact, to go through the event we should have had yesterday, the men's sprint first round. The start this coming up on your screen now. If you're watching Eurosport's programme yesterday, you may remember that the heavens opened and suddenly out of the sky dropped down all that wet stuff, which is not exactly the ideal conditions for bike racing, and so the whole thing was abandoned. Everybody trooped off back to their hotels. There's no way, that was in the afternoon, to go on racing in the evening, but the track now, keep your fingers crossed, has dried out, and we're now going on to the first of the heats in the men's sprint championship. And that man you're just looking at on your screen now, Curt Harnett, cracked the world record in the 200-metre qualifying with a fantastic time of 9.865. My co-commentator here alongside me, Russell Williams, was whistling through his teeth when he did it yesterday. Have you recovered from watching that one, Russell?
Oh, just unbelievable. I mean, these times they're doing, what is it, the top 7 riders have gone under the old world record. But I'm really interested to see, actually, because I've done a lot of work over the years with Curt Harnett. I mean, he's a fantastic athlete.
Well, it's man against man, times only partially relevant as we go through the proceedings. On the track for the first of the rounds in the men's sprint, matching here the fastest qualifier, Curt Harnett, alongside the man Joel Gelabert from Cuba. He was the 24th fastest. And imagine what this fellow Joel Gelabert did to qualify in 24th place. He did a 10.385. Even that's mind-boggling.
No, it's a really fast time, but I think what I'm saying, hopefully it'll be no problem for Curt Harnett. Curt Harnett's on the inside. That means obviously he's got to do the first lap a bit quicker than walking pace, and so away he goes. Actually, you can just notice when you look at Curt Harnett, the little gloves he's got on, they look a bit like golf clubs, but actually they use them in the keyring. There's a bit more padding in them than the usual track mitts. So Curt looks all relaxed and comfortable. He's rolling around the middle of the track.
So why have gloves on anyway, Russell?
Well, the most important thing about gloves is like wearing a helmet. If you go down, which you do sometimes on the track, it gives you a lot of protection, because what happens is if you go down without gloves on, it just wears all the palms of your hands off. So you can see Curt at the top of the track, long blonde hair. He's always looking at the main reason why sprinters are at the top of the track, that way they only have to look over their left shoulder. So this Cuban's got it all to do.
The other thing I've seen trackmen do as well is put the hand down on the front wheel and slow it down that way when they go to a track stand as well. It's another sort of little bit of a, I suppose you couldn't do that if you got bare hands, could you?
Yeah, well, the main reason to do that is to try to slow it down, also to take off a bit of the grit and things off the track. But obviously the youngsters out there are looking, they shouldn't, when you first start riding the track, you shouldn't start putting your hand on the front wheel. So here we go. I think there's 2 laps to go. Kurt's looking over his shoulder the whole time. That's the whole idea in sprinting. You've got to keep your eyes on the opposition.
I should explain also, these chaps, no brakes, single fixed gear on the bicycles. If you're looking at track racing for the first time, you're suddenly on the Friday afternoon, decided back in England, I don't know if it might be raining out there, so you can't go and dig the garden or do whatever you've got in mind for the afternoon, or fed up with shopping, have decided to put your feet up and have a cup of tea and watch what's ever on telly. You're zapped into Eurosport. Welcome, my name's David Duffield. Russell Williams alongside me, 9 times British champion. I think he's probably got about 21 medals at various levels in his career as a track cyclist. And here we go then, Russell.
So here we go, the Cuban guy's taking it down on the inside. He's got a nice little gap there, so Kurt's got to start to build it up now. Kurt's got to really work on it to close his gap, because the Cuban's got the jump on it. But look, here he comes, the man from Thunder Bay. Look, he's actually eased up. Look, he's sat up. I think he's only playing with him now. He's just sitting on him. He's playing with him. He's going to whiz past. There you go. Save his energy. Hello, a little bump there. Look at that. So confident. Good for the morale. Good win there for Curt Harnett from Thunder Bay in Canada. Remember, he goes back a long way. Back in 1984, he got the, I think it was a silver medal in the kilometre. There's a nice gesture as well. It just shakes hands with the Cuban. That's good. I enjoyed that race. I'm into this now.
You're really fun all cylinders, aren't you? When it rained last night, you're like a kiddie who'd been shown the front door of a sweetie shop, and then they locked it in your face when it all stopped last night. Anyway, we got a bit of sleep and rest and relaxation, and we're now watching the first of the rounds before we go on to the women's pursuiting. bit off schedule, by the way. I don't know exactly what we're supposed to be showing on Eurosport at this moment back in Europe and the UK, but we pulled the track 1 hour forward on what the original forecast time was. So if somebody's tuned in to watch golf or boxing or something and they find the cycling, my apologies to all concerned, but it was because we got delayed in the rain last night, and now we're going on with this, and I hope you'll stay with us. And I'm sorry if your program you're looking for is now not on your box. Russell.
Yeah, we had a good close-up just there of Darryn Hill, another one who spent, well, the last few years actually, they spent sort of 2 months in Japan racing the Kirin circuit, and they all tend to wear these, as I say, so-called golfing gloves.
And Darryn Hill last year finished second in the World Sprint Championship behind Martin Nothing. Michael Hubner was third last year, and he's on the track now, Hill. A very, very quick rider indeed, and in qualifying, second fastest inside the world 200-metre record, 9.926 for the Australian at the bottom of the track here, and he's up against Zinoviev of Russia, who was the 23rd fastest qualifier in 10.368.
So Darryn Hill, just like Curt Harnett, is the rider on the inside, so when the Russian's ready, the Australian's the one who's got a lead off. Looks like the official's waving his hand around. Bit of time wasting here by the Russian here, pretending trying to get his foot in.
Yeah, that's happened before, hasn't it? A lot of psychology goes on in this track business, doesn't it, Russell? I mean, the fellow on his qualifying time, he's now busted his strap entirely, or looking to have some problems there. He's nowhere near Hill, and I don't think he's doing this deliberately, but it has been known in the past, has it, that the odd one-upmanship goes on.
Well, Darryn Hill's doing the right thing. He's not going to hang around on the line. He's just going to roll around the inside and just keep the legs turning. Because obviously, you know, these guys come to the start line, you know, they've been out on the road maybe for an hour, you know, they've had their legs rubbed by the soigneur. Just look at the official now, he's waving his hand around. Maybe there's something wrong with the track, actually.
Yes, it is. It's coming down underneath the banking. We've had this before, and we might well again have the World Track Broom Sweeping Championship. We did it the other night about 1 o'clock in the morning, and nothing else was going on. I had we had a super sprint down the way. The carbon fibre broom and the wooden broom was coming up on the inside, and just got past the man with the steel broom as they went to the finish. It was quite good, it was, actually.
Yeah, I was having my spaghetti bolognese at that time of night. Look at these leaves. Is it leaves?
It's coming down on the side of the track, actually. You see, the trouble is that those boards don't actually go on the track, and if anybody goes behind, the stuff comes off it and comes underneath the thing. But there's plenty of brooms about here because, of course, it rains again. None of these, they're not normal brooms, they're sponges, so they can actually take the dampness off the surface of the track. That is the problem with the outdoor tracks. We had it for a long, long time in England where all the tracks were outdoors, and particularly the one that was used for national championships at Leicester. Although it had its surface changed over the years, it was a problem if it started to rain, and then we had to sort of abandon what was going on. I've seen this sort of thing happen in the past, and it's a great shame when it brings the whole thing to a halt. Not so much for, well, yes, for spectators at home and round the track, but also as regards the riders, because they're all psyched up, they're prepared to go, they've been on their bikes in the track centre, and you time yourself, don't you, Ross, when you go the line in the track centre, just what goes on.
That's right. When you arrive on the start line, especially for sprinting, you want to, you know, you've got to be really warmed up, maybe a bit of sweat on your forehead. But I'm just thinking, we don't have this trouble at Herne Hill. You know, we've got the best track in the country. We can ride in rain or showers or even the, you know, bright sunshine.
Another plug for Russell's favourite track there. I mean, actually, it's what, about 400 metres round?
That's right, 450 metres round. Now, what I'm saying is, if anybody in the UK wants to come try riding the track, just, you know, contact me down at Herne Hill. Look at the riders now. Look, the two Aussies and the Finns. They look really fed up, don't they? Or they're actually concentrating. One of the two. One of the French riders there with his head down. The thing is, it's so hard. You get yourself all ready for the sprint, you know. They say it's going to be at 3:15 or 3:30. You warm up correctly, you know. And then you get on the line and there's leaves on the track. It's a bit like the British Rail, isn't it?
Yes, but there again, you're only going to work, aren't you? You can sit at the station and do your crossword, the Daily Telegraph, I suppose. Here, these people all psyched up to go and do things. How important is this psychological work that's done before you actually get on the bike, Russell?
Well, you put it all into categories. I mean, obviously the most important thing is to get the body fit, and then obviously, you know, the mechanics of, you know, obviously getting the body right, and also the, you know, the bikes, and then of course it's the mind, you know, and you know, little things like if you don't get the right breakfast, or you know, your shoelaces snap, or little things like that. It's all part of it. Or, as in this case, the toe straps break on the sprinter's bike.
And then the leaves and rubbish came down below the track. Well, Darryn Hill, 1992, he's the kilometre junior champion, so he's been around for some time now and knows what it's like to ride at this sort of level. Part of the great Australian process produced so many champions in recent years.